Haley, one of my Patreons, was asking a few days ago a question whether the coronavirus outbreak in Germany is going to have a negative impact on the construction progress for Gigafactory 4. I did answer this question to Haley, but while doing that, it came to my mind that the answer is probably interesting for other people as well. So this is why I'm recording this video. If you're interested, if you want to know what I think, stay tuned. Haley did ask, my question is around the risk you perceive to the construction of Gigafactory 4 if the virus starts to spread at a meaningful rate in Germany. What are the chances of the government instituting some of those measures, and what would that do to Gigafactory 4 rate of progress? For instance, if they were to close schools, parents might need to stay at home, possibly reducing the workforce available by the construction business. It looks like each country handles it in their own way, probably in relation to their governing style and culture. So perhaps you have some insights here. So Haley, first of all, thanks a lot for that question. It's a good question. I believe a lot of people are interested in answers here, and I will do my best, to my best knowledge, to give answers. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to call it, the situation is very much liquid. So right now I'm doing the second take of this video simply because in the 2 or 3 hours I was editing the video, a lot of things did change, and so I had to repeat this. But I think this is probably maybe a good sign. I don't know. But everything is moving a little bit. So first of all, if you're an investor like me living here in Germany and, a Gigafactory is kind of almost built around the corner, there's no surprise that you are, watching and that you're listening what is out here in the press. And the reason why I decided to record this, first of all, in English, and secondly, for an audience that's pretty much international, is a lot of the information that we have here in the press is just not making it to the international press. So I feel like there is a gap, and I'm trying my best also with my Twitter work to cover and to close that gap. That's never perfect, but it hopefully helps a little bit to the picture and gives a more comprehensive impression what's going on in Germany. So right now, as I record this, Tesla is preparing to answer about up to 400 different questions, complaints and objections that are coming from citizens. So this is a normal process within the German approval process here. So people can file questions, and the company who's building whatever needs to answer those. So there is an open hearing planned, or I have to say better, it was planned, because that's one of the points that it changed today. So until this morning, there was a meeting scheduled to answer all questions that came up at March the 18th. And that meeting has been postponed. So there is no new date yet, and of course, why. Simply because the coronavirus did interfere here, and we have now a situation that from Monday on, schools, kindergartens, a lot of other institutions are gonna be closed in Germany. Shops, everything is still open, but they're trying to limit the, let's say, activity of society and to reduce this a little bit in order to catch up with time, so that hospitals have, are better off in terms of preparing if things turn to the bad side. We all don't hope that, but obviously this is precaution, and I think this is a good thing to do. So the Brandenburg government, regardless of this postponement of that open hearing, already announced that they expect the groundbreaking to happen in April. I would shoot for around mid of April, but right now we have no date. Since the open hearing has been postponed, I had some concerns about whether they are able to, manage everything as scheduled. At least the risk level is increasing. But what I heard and what I read just a few minutes ago is that the authorities from the Brandenburg office are still very much confident that there are not going to be any delays. And this is also what we heard from Tesla. So yesterday in the media there was a big story around 30 Tesla employees are flying back to the US. And then of course some journalists talked about this is going to delay the project. But of course it doesn't, because you can do this remotely. You don't have to be face to face all the time. And I believe they already did a good job to get everything lined up. So Tesla did confirm they don't expect any delays. The Brandenburg authorities confirmed they don't expect any delays. And even not only from the Brandenburg government, but also from the body that needs to approve the construction permit, they said they don't expect any delays. So I consider this as very good news, simply because right now everybody is extremely careful with making any commitments, because coronavirus is interfering everywhere and we do not know where this and how this is going to develop. So in such a situation, to hear from different sides that they don't expect any delays is definitely positive. So that's happening here at the moment. And one of the things Haley was asking was around schools and kindergartens, and if parents need to stay at home, what kind of impact this will have. Obviously, situations are going to be very much different from family to family. But as a matter of fact, kids will be at home for up to about 4 or even in certain situations 5 weeks. That is changing from region to region here in Germany. But if we expect such a long time span, we all know that parents going to be extra stressed, because at least one person needs to be at home, and you need to take care of them in a little bit a different way than before. So what I'm trying to say here is, yes, parents going to be occupied, and this will have an impact, but it also needs to be taken into consideration that I don't have statistics, but my gut feel is telling me that a lot of parents have kind of shared job description in that respect, that the role model is very much in a lot of families, not all, don't get me wrong here, but there's a tendency, let's put it like that the man is working and the wife, the husband is working, and the wife is often taking care more of the children. So having said that, there are a lot of families where there is simply absolutely no impact. And I can give you an example. I'm living here in an apartment, and the family just living in the next door, they have 3 children, and it's exactly like I said. I just talked to my neighbor, and he was saying, this is kind of inconvenient, but it doesn't change anything for us, because my wife is at home anyhow, so she needs now to take care of that, and I continue working. Another good friend of mine, more living in the middle of Germany, same story. I have another friend who's living in the northern part of Germany. Both are working there, so that's going to be a little bit a different model. They have a small girl. But people get organized, and I have to say there will be a situation where it's going to be difficult, but it's not like all of Germany is going out of work and needs to take care of kids and can't do their job. So what I'm trying to say here is people are working on the construction side. Some of them gonna be impacted, others not, and this will sort out. So I don't see that that regulation that schools and kindergartens are closed, that is closing down Germany kind of. So this is not going to happen. Also, it needs to be taken into consideration that the Gigafactory 4 is that's a project with a very high prestige. So if you are a construction company that's been involved in one of these big Tesla projects, everybody is going to talk about you. So visibility is increasing, and with that your sales is increasing for sure. In particular, if you can claim, hopefully later on, that you did finish in time and that Tesla has, really a very ambitious time schedule. So, having said that, I believe there will be a lot of construction companies who would like to be involved or taking over work. So, in other words, it's really an advantage Tesla has here in that respect. And if one construction company can't do the job because just the workers are kind of gone, I'm pretty confident that others are going to jump in. Another factor I'd like to point out here is, we all know that they didn't even start with the groundworks. So in other words, there's a lot of work that needs to be done outside. It's a fresh air, and the coronavirus is dangerous if you are working in an office and with a lot of people packed, closely nearby. But if you work in a construction site, the situation is very much different. So I don't expect a lot of infections there. We never know. I mean, this is a bold sentence to say, right? But even if that would happen, it should probably be more easy to be controlled, let's put it like that, versus that would be a construction site in the middle of a town. So that's just a very order of magnitude different situation. So having said that, even if cases are happening, and we should all be prepared for that, so this is probably definitely going to happen, they're gonna isolate them and the others can continue. So this is not going to close down all and everything. Maybe there are some delays, but the construction is going until early next year, so 2021. So they have some time to catch up if situations turn to the worse. And I don't expect that, to be honest, but we never know, of course. So it's better to be prepared for situations like that. Yeah, so the virus here in Germany is definitely number one discussion point everywhere. So you can go wherever you want and people are talking about it. But it's not like in northern Italy where streets are empty. It's completely the different side. I mean, I'm just coming out of the gym and this is completely normal. I've been driving there and the streets have been packed with cars. Yes, that may be different from city to city and region to region. I don't know. But what I hear and feel here in the southern part of Germany, where a lot of industry is around, it's not like people are hiding at home and don't dare to step over the door step. So this is just not the case. So a lot of people are pretty relaxed, to be honest, and I have to admit, me too. The reason I think is mainly because in most cases the infection is pretty mild for people, so it's nothing to compare with what we've seen in northern Italy, and I don't want to play this down, so don't get me wrong here. I strongly believe that these measures make sense. I believe that they are pretty harsh, so they try to control it very early on with strict processes in place now and rules and regulation, so that's all good. So I don't complain about it. That's fine. And, there's also a lot of stimulus money flowing into the industry for short work and, other things, which I believe helps. Some of you may know that in Germany we have a sick leave regulation. So if you feel bad, you stay at home and you still get paid for another 6 weeks, and then later on even longer from the health insurance company. I don't know the details, so luckily I never was in that situation. But having said that, so we don't have people who just don't feel well running around like crazy and infecting others. This is not really happening here, I believe. Obviously, it's happening because there's, we all know it, that you just don't have symptoms for a while, and therefore people are running around. But still, I believe that, and I hope, knock on wood, cross fingers, that this is not as severe here or going to develop in a situation like that, versus that what we see right now in Italy. So another aspect is that the virus is impacting mainly older people. So we have a few cases, and not that many even, with which are in hospital, and And this is mainly old people, not only, but the majority. So, in other words, older people are not necessarily working on a construction site. Yes, it's also happening, but it's not the rule of thumb. And therefore, I would believe or hope that even if infections are happening within the workforce of that construction companies, that these are more younger people, and that they're gonna have a mild and easygoing recovery, as a lot of people have here. So having said that, what else? I believe that that if you think about it, in terms of impact, I believe that the risk is out here. There's no question, but it's not a major risk. So that should be able to be handled. And if we add all together, I would say I would be very surprised if over time no infections appear in the workforce there, but I would also be extremely surprised if there would be any kind of severe delay. So there is a big focus from the Brandenburg government to make it happen. So they actually need to make it happen. They've been under a lot of pressure from the Berlin airport. You probably all know that is a running joke of Germany. And Elon himself said that he hopes he can finish the Gigafactory before the airport is finished. So he's probably, he has a good chance, let's put it like that. So all in all, as I said, I think there's a good chance. I don't see big risks, or risks where I would say it's the likelihood is high. I would say the likelihood at the moment is low. But given that everything is very, very much liquid and changing kind of every second hour, we of course don't know how this is going to turn and in what direction. So I'm positive here, but we also have to be careful and cautious. But I believe everybody is trying to do everything to build a construction site and to see, making the groundbreaking ceremony and starting with the construction work, with the real construction work in time. That's all going on, and that's all good. So once again, Haley, thanks for your question. That is my answer. I hope that is beneficial for everybody who listened, and you could take some information from it. And yeah, enjoy. Have a great day, and thanks. Having said that, I wish everybody the best health. The panic we feel at the moment in the markets and maybe in our surroundings will disappear one day. Everything will calm down, and it's a good advice to stay calm as an investor as well. So I'm convinced this will pass, and one day we will look back and say, this has been completely crazy times, and there is something I can tell my kids, I can talk about to my grandkids. But obviously, if we are in the middle of it like we are right now, this is not beautiful. So, as I said, best health for everybody. If you liked the video, if you have questions to me, send a question to me. If you want to hear more from me, follow me on Twitter or subscribe as a patron. Thanks so much. Have a great day.